Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another exciting edition of Transformers Reviews. Well, today, guys, we are taking a look at the Bumblebee Studio Series version of Arcee. Although, technically, throughout this video, you will see pieces of the mold they just tweaked to make the 86 Studios Arcee. However, in looking at this girl, one of the things that I find interesting is that it feels like it pulls elements of the Beast Machine's thrust and the motorcycle drone, along with pulling elements of what her Cybertronian and more animation style vehicle mode was. Now, if you were looking at this, you would probably think, oh, okay, well, she's just a Cybertronian motorcycle. What's interesting is she's not the typical two-wheeler version of a motorcycle, is because, as you can obviously tell, she has the two on the front, and as you can see, they just kind of roll in the middle, which is kind of cheeky, but okay, whatever. But in addition to the front two, she has two on the back, just like a regular car. But one of the other interesting things is just how it's curved and shaped. It also reminds me of the backside of Arcee's car mode. Now, if we actually look at this front part right here, some of the elements, it kind of seems like maybe just the vaguest sort of similarity to bits of her car hood, which, again, this is actually what tipped me over into buying this figure, was the vehicle mode. But there's just something about this design that I can't help but like. And I mean, the detailing on it is fantastic. And how some of the robot mode bits are obvious, the other parts of it are actually really decently hidden. However, let's see how this girl looks with a fellow Bumblebee Studio Series figure. Now, looking at this, some folks might actually have a problem with this sort of size comparison. But again, Arcee's Cybertronian mode was not scaled for a human rider. It actually could have been legitimately in scale with the Cybertronian version of Wheeljack's car mode. And, I mean, personally, do I care? No, I think they'll look fine if I decide to display them like this. So again, guys, that was just to show you how she looked with one of her fellow movie co-stars. But I think I'm actually ready to turn this girl into a robot. So let's see how she looks once she pulls off a little bit more of a familiar look. So here our girl is rocking, again, like I said, a little bit more of a familiar look. However, there is quite a bit to unpack here because, again, this is a reimagining of this character right here. And when you look at it, there's a lot of design cues that they kept the same. Now, the one thing that always kind of freaked me out about this figure, and it's becoming less so, is just the amount of detail on that face, and the eyes are creepy because I was used to something a little bit softer and a little bit more appealing to look at as opposed to that. Let's see how she stacks up to a more modern interpretation. And again, the only reason I have this Paradrawn Medic is because it came with Ratchet, okay? We already know how I feel about this mold. I think I'm actually okay with it because one of the other things that always kind of freaked me out is I looked at the legs and I'm like, man, them suckers are like super thick. Well, yeah, when your only point of reference is these things over here that's super ladyfied, this is more of like a robot first and a lady second. So there is that. Plus, the other thing that I dig is the fact that these wheels back here give me sort of like Revenge of the Fallen Sideswipe vibes, and I'm totally down with that. But basically, they just form the heel supports for her feet. Plus, the other thing is these are supposed to harken back to the more traditional Arcee over-the-shoulder hood bits. And one thing that I'm digging is you can tell back here, this looks like some sort of a jetpack detailing. And we never saw that in the movie, but if you wanted to use it where she could fly, that adds a little bit of legitimacy to it. So I definitely like that about her. Plus the fact that she comes with two decent sized rifles. As we saw with figures like the Studio Series Cup, sometimes the rifles are not exactly what they need, and I'm just glad that Arcee gets some decent sized blasters. So here you can see how she looks with fellow figures Optimus Prime and once again her friend Wheeljack. I'm definitely digging how these three look together, so that's awesome. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed our brief look at the Bumblebee Studio Series Arcee. And until next time, guys, we will see you in another review.
I've lost contact with the Capitol!